What's up everybody, I'm Armin Van Buuren. I'm currently at the Ministry of Sound. But for those who haven't really started DJing yet, or they want to know a little bit more about DJing in general, let me give you some tips. This is where it all begins and ends. It's the CD wallet. I'm making kind of a big deal out of this because most of the DJing preparation starts actually at home, in your living room with a cup of tea. I'll show you what I've done here. My CD wallet is actually pretty organized. I actually bought myself a printer, and as you can see, a lot of my CDs, I'll hold it up, have great labels. I only burn one track per CD, and I put my keys on every CD so I know what key I'm in when I'm mixing to the next record. So another thing that I use, right now I'm using this Pioneer CDJ CD players for this demonstration and the Pioneer mixer. Make sure that the mix is in stereo. You'll be surprised how many mixers actually switch to mono. There are 4 faders here. For the demonstration I'm only using 2 CD players. I have a little box of secrets. And this box contains the cue cards that I use a lot for my DJing. And cue cards are nothing else but pre-programmed cue points on a CD. So I can jump to whatever section on a record I want. Actually, I haven't seen a lot of DJs use these, so use them because it gives you an advantage, especially on festivals. I'll explain that later. All right, now let's grab some tunes. 2 tunes. One of them is an intro mix. It's always nice to have a little intro when you start your set, so people actually know that there's a different DJ playing. So at home, I did an edit of a track that I really liked, combine it with another track. Just made it a little easy for myself. If you start tweaking at the beginning of your set, you might make you a little nervous when you're standing in front of a big crowd. So my advice is, if you want to start with an intro, make it at home, burn it to a CD, then you're more relaxed and you can get more into it. This is an intro I made from a tune from Jerome Isma, a tune from Arnai, producer from Toronto, and Let There Be Light. I made this intro for an event called Trance Energy, and it just sets the tone, the mood for the atmosphere for the night. It can make the crowd go crazy, get them excited when they're ready for it. Simple kick drum usually does the work, especially after a long intro, to make the crowd go crazy. Less is more, as they say. Now, for my second tune, I'll show you. I've done my homework. I know this tune is in F sharp, so I've actually written it down. It's in 130 F sharp. So my next tune is 131 F sharp. So I know my second mix will, if I have it in sync, I know it will sound okay. Because this track is in 130 F sharp, and this is 131 F sharp, which is almost the same tune. So, now what I've done with the second tune, I've made some cue points. This is, I stored the cue points on this cue card information, put the cue card in here, and it actually, the CD player now remembers the cue points that I pre-programmed at home. I've programmed some starting points, because if I normally would put in the CD, you would get this. Now I've programmed the cue points, and with the call button, I can recall the cue points that I programmed at home, which is the first kick drum of the track. Again, it saves me a lot of time, so I don't have to look for the cue point when I'm looking at a crowd. I'd much rather spend my time interacting with the fans, looking for some other decent tunes, than trying to find the cue point. So what I've done, I've pre-programmed a lot of the cue points at home. What you can also do is edit the track at home and burn the edit track without the intro on a CD, but you might want to use the track with intro for an encore or something. So my advice is just to use the cue cards and program the first kick drum of the track so it's ready when you want to go. Next to that, I've also programmed a few hot cues. A hot cue is basically you use the CDJ as a sampler. You jump instantly to another point in the track. So at home I programmed 3 points. It's blinking here, as you can see. That's cue point A. It's the starting point of the main theme of the track. Cue point B. It's the lead with the drums and everything. And cue point C is a quiet section in the record, which I can play with. Now with these 3 cue points organized, I can jump and make it interesting for the crowd. For example, if the record is playing and I'm near the breakdown, I can decide to jump to a quiet section and then cut it. Jumping back and forth between the quiet and the theme section. Just by using these 3 hot cue points that I already programmed at home. So it's very easy, and the crowd, you can play with the crowd and actually let them feel that what you're doing is kind of live. Okay, so we were playing this tune. I already know the key of this tune, so all I need to do is I need to put this track in sync. Now the CD players actually help you because it says it's 130 BPM. So I put this at 130 BPM as well, and then I start triggering the record. You're hearing is this track and this track mixed together. Bass line is in the same key, so the mix doesn't sound awful or in a way because it's in the same key. Now the cool thing about the Pioneer 800 mixer is it also has some effects like delay and echo. Makes you look really cool with your friends if you use those. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put it on the echo effects. This Pioneer already recognizes the tempo of the track if you put it in auto mode. So the CD player tells me this track is 130 BPM, and also the mixer tells me it's 130 BPM. So I can put the echo, which is like sort of the repeat of small sections of the record, in the same tempo as the track. So when I'm playing the track now from the beginning, and I'm turning the echo on, you get, it's nothing but an echo effect. But if you use that with the hot cues we just made as a sampler, you can make interesting edits of the track live on the fly. For example, what I've done is just mixing between the separate sections of the track, making my own live edit of the track to make it more interesting for the crowd. Some other features that I really like to use on the Pioneer mixer. The filters are always really cool and really handy. Use them wisely though, because the colors are very sensitive, to put it that way, and it makes a huge impact on the system. You basically remove all the low frequencies of a track just with a little twist. So make sure you use your effects wisely. I'll just show you some, I'll just do another mix to show you people how I normally mix in a club. Normally we use the headphones. I'm using earplugs. Very important. Don't damage your ears because these are your income. So I've ensured my hearing just by using earplugs. And basically if you use good ones, you can still hear a conversation with somebody speaking into your ear. You don't get deaf. Another really big tip is don't put your monitors too loud and try to mix on the headphones. The Pioneer mixers and any other mixers always give you the opportunity to cue the master and mix it with the record that you're about to mix in. So my advice would be to mix on headphones because you can put the volume a little lower and you don't damage your hearing because that happens quickly, unfortunately. So let me grab another tune. Now I know that the tune I'm currently playing is 130 BPM. It's in F sharp. The next tune I want to play is 138, but it's in G. But if I speed up an F sharp record in 130 and I get to 138, I know it sounds quite fast, but actually about 8 or 9 BPMs is half a note. So F sharp becomes G at that speed. So I'm not going to use it at this speed, I'm going to use it at its original speed, mix in the next record, which I know is G, put it back at 130. Two tracks going. It's the low end of the high end of this and the low end of that. So I've actually pitched down this record quite a bit, but because I have it in key, the mix sounds okay. Especially for festivals, when you're doing gigs and you only have an hour and you have to impress a lot of people, my advice would be use hot cues, shorten your records, and mix in key because it gives you the opportunity to quickly go to where the record is about, the essence. Normally a track takes about 6, 7, or 8 minutes. If you are on a festival and you want to play a lot of records in 1 hour and you want to impress a lot of people, my advice would be mixing key so you can jump quicker in the record to the point where the breakdown is or where the interesting point of the record is, the main vocal or the main melody. And using keys can definitely help your life. soon.